That very first week when you bring your tiny Shih Tzu home always feels like stepping into a new chapter, messy, chaotic, heart-melting, and strangely fragile. You watch that little fluff ball wobble through the living room, those round eyes sparkling with curiosity, the tiny tail swaying like it's trying to decode the entire universe. And right then, you realize something important. Every good habit and every bad habit your puppy forms will be rooted in this first week. If you're careless, you'll pay for it with mysterious puddles appearing at the worst possible moments. But if you're patient and intentional, you'll build the foundation for years of calm, clean living together. During these first 7 days, you need to take your Shih Tzu outside far more often than you expect. Not the casual, "I'll bring him out when I'm free" kind of schedule, but a rhythm-steady, predictable, almost ritualistic. Every 2 to 3 hours, you gently guide or carry them outside. And the moment they wake up, the moment they finish eating, or right after a round of energetic play, you head outside again. A puppy's bladder and digestive system are tiny. Missing just a few minutes of timing can turn into a surprise puddle on the floor, accompanied by the most innocent expression ever invented. When you take them outside at the right moments, you're giving them golden opportunities to build the association bathroom sow outdoors. That single lesson is the heart of everything. Dogs don't naturally understand the concept of right place, wrong place. They understand what is repeated, what smells familiar, and what makes their human happy. This first week is the moment you teach them that the world outside is where everything gets released, and the world inside is where comfort, safety, and play happen. You'll also notice yourself becoming more observant than ever. You'll learn to read the tiny signals your puppy gives off circling, sniffing the floor intensely, pacing, or suddenly becoming restless. These are your cues, your little alarm bells. And when you see them, you have to move fast, almost like a soldier on standby. If you hesitate, even just for a breath, you'll be back with cleaning wipes, sighing dramatically while your puppy blinks at you as if wondering why you're so stressed. The first week demands consistency, kindness, timing, and the patience of a monk. But when you get it right, you lay down a foundation that will reward you for years. A Shih Tzu that grows up knowing exactly where to go, exactly how to behave, and exactly what makes you smile. That starts here. In these 7 days, this week isn't just a test for your puppy. It's a test for you too. A small but powerful beginning to a bond filled with warmth, routine, and the kind of companionship that only grows deeper with time. After you survive the whirlwind of the first week, you begin to notice something subtle. Your Shih Tzu is starting to look to you for direction. It watches your steps, listens to the jingle of the leash, anticipates routines you didn't even realize you were creating. And this is the perfect moment to introduce the next pillar of house training, choosing one single bathroom spot outside and turning it into the holy land of potty habits. It sounds simple, almost too simple. But puppies thrive on patterns. To them, the world is a confusing, overstimulating place full of strange smells, moving shadows, suspicious leaves, and imaginary threats. A dedicated potty spot becomes an anchor, a little corner of the outside world that carries only one meaning. When you guide your Shih Tzu to that same patch of grass or the same tiny gravel square every time, you're offering clarity in a world that feels overwhelmingly chaotic. Each time you bring them to that spot, you're reinforcing a smell map. Dogs are creatures of scent before anything else. And once that first successful deposit happens there, the smell becomes a guidebook. It whispers to your puppy, "This is where you went last time. This is the place." And the more often you return, the longer that scent memory lasts. So you pick the spot maybe near the fence where the wind is quiet, maybe near the old tree where the shade falls gently. You kneel beside your puppy, leash in hand, and wait. Not impatiently. Not with the energy of someone rushing through errands, but calmly. Like you're holding space for a moment that matters. And when your Shih Tzu finally goes in the right place, you respond instantly. That quiet good job or the light scratch behind the ear becomes a small celebration. If you want to use treats, this is the time. To your puppy, it's not a reward, it's proof that it decoded the puzzle correctly. Over the next days, you'll notice the magic of repetition. You step outside, guide them toward the spot, and their body language shifts. The sniffing changes. The pace slows. Their tiny brain starts connecting dots faster than you expect. And before long, that little area becomes the bathroom equivalent of their favorite calf familiar. Comfortable and predictable. Of course, there will be times when distractions tempt them away, a bird hopping nearby, a leaf tumbling across the grass, or a mysterious noise that only dogs can hear. That's why the leash helps. Not to restrain, but to refocus. You gently guide them back, letting the environment fade until only the purpose of the moment remains. Building this habit requires patience and a kind of quiet dedication. But when your Shih Tzu trots to that spot on its own someday, you'll understand why this step mattered. You didn't just pick a place. You created a signal, a routine, a tiny lighthouse in the ever-expanding world your puppy is learning to navigate. As the routine begins to settle into your days, something almost magical starts to happen. You begin to understand your Shih Tzu without words. It isn't telepathy, of course, but it feels strangely close. Puppies don't speak, yet their bodies tell stories, tiny, subtle signals that spill out long before an accident ever happens. And if you pay attention, you'll notice that your Shih Tzu has been trying to communicate with you from the very beginning. It always starts the same way. A sudden shift in energy. One moment your puppy is bouncing around, attacking an imaginary enemy or proudly marching with a stolen sock. And the next second, everything slows. The eyes drop to the floor. The nose begins sweeping back and forth like a little radar device. Each breath pulls in information, searching for the familiar scent of a previous mistake. This sniffing isn't casual, it's investigative, focused, purposeful. It's your first signal. Then comes the circling. Tiny paws tracing tight spirals on the ground as if your puppy is caught in a gravitational pull. In nature, dogs circle to choose safe ground before relieving themselves. Even in your modern living room, that ancient instinct lives on. And if you see it happening indoors, you know that you're seconds away from a small disaster. There are other signals too, the ones that require you to tune your senses a little sharper. Some Shih Tzus look at the door, not quite sure what to do next. Some whine softly, almost apologetically. Some pace, turning their restlessness into a tiny dance of urgency. And as they're human, you become the interpreter, the guardian of timing. The moment you notice these signs, you act fast. Not with panic, not with dramatic shouting, but with a calm, determined swiftness. You guide your puppy outside like you're leading them away from temptation before it wins. And you'll be surprised how often a near accident transforms into a successful trip simply because you responded quickly enough to beat the clock. But there will be days when you miss the signs. Maybe you're distracted. Maybe the puppy is too fast. Or maybe the universe simply decides to test your patience. Even the best puppy parents lose the race sometimes. And that's fine. Your Shih Tzu isn't being defiant or sneaky, its little body just hasn't mastered control yet. Anger only confuses them. Shame makes them anxious. What they need is guidance, not guilt. Over time, as you grow more fluent in this silent language, you'll start catching signals earlier, reacting faster, preventing more accidents than you ever thought possible. And your puppy will learn something too, that you understand them, that you're paying attention, that you're their partner in this strange new world. There's a quiet intimacy in moments like these, a kind of trust that forms not through big gestures, but through tiny, everyday acts of awareness. By learning the signs, you're not just preventing accidents. You're strengthening a bond that will shape the entire journey ahead. Once you start understanding the subtle signals your Shih Tzu gives you, The next piece of the puzzle slips quietly into place: the leash. It seems almost unnecessary at first, especially if you have a fenced yard or a safe outdoor space. You might even feel a little silly clipping that tiny leash onto a puppy that barely weighs as much as a bag of rice. But the truth is, the leash is not about control. It's about focus. And for a creature whose attention span is shorter than a sneeze, focus is everything. Picture this: you open the door, step into the yard, and before you can even breathe, your Shih Tzu is already halfway across the grass, nose glued to a random leaf, tail wagging at the wind, brain completely hijacked by whatever invisible adventure it just invented. In the puppy world, going potty is rarely the most exciting option. There are smells to decode, birds to stalk, shadows to chase, and grand missions only your puppy understands. Without the leash, the purpose of your trip evaporates instantly. But when you gently guide them with the leash, not pulling, not yanking, just providing direction, the outside world shrinks into something manageable. Their battlefield of distractions becomes a small while focused arena where one goal takes center stage. You walk them to the potty spot, wait quietly, and let their mind settle. It's almost like dimming the lights before starting a show. The leash lowers the chaos so the habit can rise. There's another small miracle hidden in this simple tool. When your Shih Tzu is off leash, it's easy for them to wander, sniff, play, and run without ever connecting the outing to the act of relieving themselves. But when you're there beside them, holding that thin line between you, your presence becomes part of the routine. They start to understand we come outside together to do this specific thing. And that understanding accelerates toilet training more than you might expect. Of course, your puppy will still get distracted sometimes. A fluttering insect, a drifting leaf, a distant bark, each one can pull their attention away like a magnet. But with the leash, you have a gentle way of redirecting them. A small step forward, a quiet come on, a light guide back to the familiar spot. You're not forcing, you're reminding, bringing them back to the mission again and again until the mission becomes instinct. And over time, something beautiful happens. The leash stops feeling like a tool and starts feeling like a connection, a quiet line of communication between you and your little dog. They begin to understand the rhythm, respond to your pace, follow your lead. Eventually, you'll find that even without the leash, your Shih Tzu trots toward the potty spot as if the leash were still there, invisible but remembered. In the end, the leash doesn't just prevent distractions. It teaches discipline, builds routine, and deepens trust. It turns chaos into consistency. It transforms a wild little fluff ball into a puppy who knows why they're outside and what they're supposed to do there. As the days blend into a gentle rhythm, you start to notice that your Shih Tzu is becoming a creature of patterns, tiny, adorable rituals that repeat quietly throughout the day. And this is where the real magic of house training begins: the schedule. Not the strict military kind of schedule, but a soft structure, a predictable flow that your puppy can lean on like a familiar melody. Dogs, especially small breeds like Shih Tzu, don't understand time the way you do. They don't care about hours or minutes, but they feel sequences deeply. Wake up, go outside. Eat, go outside. Play, go outside. Rest, go outside. To a puppy, repetition becomes meaning. Meaning becomes habit. Habit becomes behavior. And behavior becomes the peaceful life you're trying to build together. Your schedule becomes the map your puppy follows, even without realizing it. When you feed them at the same times each day, their little body adjusts. Digestion settles into a rhythm. Energy rises and falls predictably. Their bladder begins to anticipate rather than react. And suddenly, potty accidents become less about chaos and more about timing. You start the morning by taking your Shih Tzu outside the moment they wake up. Not after your coffee. Not after scrolling your phone immediately. For a puppy, that first morning trip is like pressing a reset button. It sets the tone for the whole day. Then comes breakfast, followed by another chance to go outside. As the day unfolds, you follow the same gentle loop playtime. Potty break, nap, potty break, dinner, potty break, final trip before bed. It sounds repetitive, almost too simple. But simplicity is exactly what their little mind needs. You'll notice something heartwarming as the schedule takes root. Your puppy starts predicting you. Before you move, they're already at your feet. Before you reach for the leash, they're wagging. Before you head to the door, they're waiting by it like a tiny, furry psychic. It's not magic. It's the power of routine shaping their understanding of the world. But the schedule isn't only for your puppy. It's for you too. It gives you a sense of control over the chaos of raising a young dog. Instead of reacting to accidents, you're preventing them. Instead of constantly guessing what your puppy needs, you become a step ahead. And this quiet sense of structure makes the entire training journey smoother, calmer, kinder. Of course, not every day will go perfectly. Life gets messy. Schedules slip. Unexpected errands pop up. But even when the timing isn't perfect, the overall rhythm remains. Puppies don't need perfection, they need consistency. They need the comfort of knowing what comes next. The reassurance that their world is stable, predictable, and safe. And in that stability, your Shih Tzu begins to thrive. They relax more. They learn faster. They trust deeper. A simple daily routine becomes the invisible backbone of your relationship, the steady beat behind every success you share.